Hello, everyone. You're on SK Live. I'm your host, Indranil Basu. Today, we have a very young champion with us, Mr. Mudit Dani. Should I call you Mr. Master? A young man. Good to see you. Thanks for joining on SK Live, Mudit. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you so much, firstly, for inviting me on this. And I'm doing well. I think we're all getting used to this new normal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing well. Everyone's safe, and I think that's the most important thing right now.
So, what have you been doing all this while? It's nearly 6 months that we are away from, from real time action. We are not going out so freely. Everyone is wearing masks outside. So, how is Bombay? How is everything? How's the surrounding? And how have you been coping with this?
Yeah, it's been pretty long actually. I played my last event in the second week of March, the ITTF Oman Open,
Yeah.
where actually it was the last ever pro tour in many ways because table tennis is changing its circuit next year,
Yeah.
and it was really good actually that Sharad Bhaiya won the last ever event.
Yeah.
So since then it's been a little bit of staying home and something I'm not really used to. Usually I'm on the road. Usually I'm training more, playing tournaments. So it's been a little different, but it's been a lot of fun. I think I've been able to spend some time with my family. It's the first time I've taken such a long break as well. So it's been good to think about my game, about my physical strengths, some things that I need to work on, things like that. So yeah, it's been good to be home actually.
Lovely. And a lot of people uh, they had this thing that we never stayed so long with the family. Staying we've been always on the road, as you said. So,
Yeah.
and what was the game changing thing staying at home? I mean, what did you learn? Biggest lesson you learned in this lockdown?
I think the biggest thing would probably be the fact that I love my bed the most. But no, on a serious note, I think it's just helped me actually to keep a routine. I think that's the biggest takeaway for me. I've been able to sort of do the same thing every day, be in the same environment,
Yeah.
and it's actually extremely calming on my mind and on my body as well, because sometimes traveling and things puts a lot of fatigue onto your body and mind. So yeah, I mean, just keeping a routine has really helped me to sort of not be bored, not be demotivated or anything of that sort.
Mudit, you look very studious. I mean, are you into reading books and your eyes tell a story that you're very studious, very intense. Someone who looks very very intelligent. I'm not saying because you've come on the show. I'm just telling you factual what I feel. I see a lot of sports people. When you look at them, they have sheer talent and nothing else. But looking at you, you look someone who's got a lot of gray matter inside.
No, I mean, I don't actually particularly like reading as much. But of course, I mean, education has been important to me. And, I've been able to sort of balance sport and education to some extent, I would say. And I'm graduating this December. So yeah, I'm happy that you think that, or at least I come off that way, even if I'm not, maybe.
No, but it's important. Looks are also important. Looks could be deceptive also, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's lovely to have carry that. Because a lot of our battle are won and lost inside our minds. So that mind space is very important. How much importance do you give to that mind game, which happens?
No,
In
I think it's extremely important. I think I got into it a little bit late, if I have to be honest. My coach, my parents, a couple of other players around me senior players used to suggest, at the age of 12, 13, 14, when I was getting quite serious with the sport, that I should get into it. But I don't know. I think I took it a little bit lightly early on. But as soon as I was about 15 or so, I've been working for the last 6 odd years on my mental game, and been in touch with my mental trainer, who's been helping me a lot. I think at the international level, especially, the difference between winning and losing, and in terms of skill, is extremely low. So of course, the mind then plays a big role in the results, in the way you think. I mean, I think the most important thing that I've learned is just the fact that you have to stay in the present. It sounds really easy, but being able to do that through the ups and downs of matches, ups and downs of points within the match, it's pretty hard. So I mean, just staying in the present is something that has really helped me, at least.
Talk about big roles. I think parents, they have a huge role also, for any sports person, to make a career out of it. I think the parents, they play a huge role. I've heard, I've interviewed so many people across India in different sports, be it cricketers, TT players, table tennis. You see the stories, the sort of sacrifice, sort of support parents have given to all the sports people in India. Just amazing. All of them have a story, unique stories. I mean, what is your story? How was, you have a sports culture. Your mom is, of course, a huge promoter of all kinds of sports, football, TT. But how has that sort of culture rubbed onto you? I mean, can you tell me how it happened? Did it come naturally to you, or you saw, how did sports come to your life?
So, I mean, I think it was a process of actually the other way around. I think I started playing table tennis at around the age of 7, and slowly, I started playing state events, national events, and that's sort of when I had to take certain decisions. And my parents were always extremely supportive of
That's
both my sport and my study. I think it was not only one way. So obviously that's played a huge role. And then eventually, my mom used to travel with me sometimes when I was really young, or at least see the way that, for state events, sometimes you have to travel by second class train. Sometimes, the accommodation is like 20 guys in a hostel, and, things weren't up to the international standard in some ways. And that's something that I think she wanted to get into. And that's how sports sort of came into the family at the same time, for in many different ways.
and this is such a powerful tool. Once you, I mean, I know a lot of sports people who have shared their experiences with me, saying that once they won a tournament or a big title, and they got injured while playing that final or whatever match they were playing, and that pain actually didn't bother, because there was so much of happiness inside their hearts. That's the power of sports.
Yeah,
It creates so much of energy inside you, isn't it?
for sure, for sure. Actually, that reminds me, my first major injury was when I was 13,
Okay.
and it happened in the semi-finals of a match. And I was adamant that I play the finals, because I mean, I was a young 13-year-old kid excited about playing the finals, and my coach kept telling me that I shouldn't risk it. And then it led to an even worse injury, and then I was out for a little while. But yeah, it's something that I think just that feeling when you're playing is that you're sort of invincible in some way.
Absolutely. It drives you crazy actually. So what injury did you have that time, when as young as 13? Where is the shoulder or hand injury? What was that?
My shoulder blade. It was my
Oh,
shoulder blade.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's so yeah, it's talking about that drive to be on the field next to a that TT table, and that is something, no happiness, no, nothing can replace that feeling, isn't it, for a sportsman?
No, for sure, for sure. I mean, I put it this way, that I think the thing that I missed the most during the lockdown was simply just hearing the sound of the table tennis ball, I mean, you're used to hearing it for hours and hours every day, and then suddenly, the lockdown came in and we couldn't train for quite a while. And that sound was just it just vanished. So that's something that I really missed. I of course missed warming up and then training and things like that, but the one thing that was really sort of a void in my life was just the fact that I couldn't hear that ball every day.
But you must have trained during this. I mean, in past 6 months that we've been all inside our homes, you must have trained. You've gone somewhere. You must have played some practice game with someone.
So in the beginning, I didn't actually. For about a month and a half, I didn't touch my racket.
Okay.
But slowly as things opened up, I could train a little bit, and day by day it's getting a lot better and closer to the reality of
Yeah.
of my regular schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And uh, your the high point of your career. I mean, you're really young and you have to achieve a lot more right now. Breaking in the top 200 in the world.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was obviously a big milestone for me.
Yeah.
I was good in the juniors, and then there is that sort of transition period to the seniors where it takes a couple of years, and that was quite hard, I would say, for me, and it ended up being extremely good. So I mean, breaking into the top 200 was one aim and goal that I had for 2020. To be able to do it in April was even better. But yeah, in the situation that there is right now, I think April was the last month that I could have done it. So I'm glad, even though that activities have been halted, I was able to go ahead and break into the top 200.
Absolutely. And the lockdown happened, and I mean, not many would have used lockdown so effectively the way you did by doing those, inviting those stars, by creating a show of your own and talking to them, sharing their experiences. And I have to really compliment you. Went out, using your own self to get out, and get in touch with those sports person, using your own skills, which was very 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 important, and making your own way. And Mudit, tell me, who gave you this idea, grand idea, to go out and interact with all the biggies of sport?
I mean, I don't want to sound pompous right now, but I sort of thought of it myself.
Okay.
I was just I was scrolling on social media one afternoon, and I realized that there were a lot of questions coming in to myself about what training should we do in lockdown, how are you keeping yourself fit, is there any way to substitute playing table tennis, and a lot of them were very table tennis centric, but just general fitness and sport related as well. And that's when I actually thought that instead of answering them myself, it would be much better for sports enthusiasts, and even a learning experience for me to reach out to some of the most elite athletes of
Absolutely.
India,
Yeah.
and playing for the last 10, 12 years, and especially in the last couple of years, I've gotten to know a couple of them. And then I sort of spoke about this idea to some of my seniors, Sharad Bhaiya, Satyan, Manika, and then in turn they decided to also help me a little bit, connect me to a couple of athletes that they knew, and
Yeah.
then it sort of just went that way, as in one person connects to another, and I knew some of them myself. So that's sort of how the idea came up, that I asked them things about fitness, about sports, about where Indian sport is heading. And of course, for sports enthusiasts and for myself as well, it's been a great learning curve for me to hear from them.
Absolutely. We have been in. I've been in the profession for last 20 years, and ask me about it. It's such a pleasure when you interact with these sports people, and not only cricketers. Mind it, it's all
Yeah,
sports.
yeah,
India has got sort of, and we're doing so well in Olympic sport. The hockey players, the kabaddi players. Name any footballers, they're all also good. And I find it, it's cricket is like, everyone wants to cover cricket, everyone wants to hear the cricketers. I think it's a low hanging fruit for journalists like me. I think if I'm able to reach out to people who are making us proud, in sports other than cricket, I feel really great. I mean, I have to honestly tell you that. And right now IPL is going on. So are you following IPL? Are you watching IPL? Do you like cricket? In which ways, the sport which
yes.
all the limelight?
No, of course. I do love watching cricket. I used to play as well as a child, and as you said, I mean, I think each sport has its own benefits. Each sport is has its own stars. So that's what my show sort of was about. I wanted to get the best of the best across all sports, because I think all of them are equal. I wouldn't
Absolutely.
say anything
Absolutely.
is above anything else.
Absolutely.
So, I had the honor of having, PV Sindhu and Vijender Singh and Abhinav Bindra, and the list can go on. But as you were talking about the IPL, yeah, I've been watching IPL. I actually end up playing fantasy IPL with my friends. So that's sort of been keeping me busy in the evenings, and it's been fun. I think the last couple of games have been unbelievable. So it's been good entertainment.
Which is your team?
I support Mumbai Indians, Mumbai boy.
Okay. Okay, very loyal, loyal. And who's your
Loyal.
very loyal, of course. And who's your favorite cricketer in the team?
I don't really have a favorite cricketer, if I have to be honest. I used to actually like Lasith Malinga a lot.
Yeah, they're gonna
I
miss.
think, yeah, I think his bowling style was different, and he was just so precise. So if I had to choose one from the Mumbai Indians team, maybe Lasith Malinga. But you've had Rohit Sharma, you've had Sachin Tendulkar, you've had Jay Surya, you've had obviously now the Pandyas and Pollard. I mean, it's hard to decide.
Really, and they're going to miss him so much this year because he's a big match player. Whichever big games Mumbai Indians have won, Lasit Malinga was always there, with his hand up. I'm going to bowl.
Exactly.
In last year's final also, but this year they're going to miss
Exactly.
him, and they're already missing him. Coming back to this new normal of living with the coronavirus pandemic, how do you
Yeah.
see table tennis surviving through this?
I think table tennis is going to come out of this with a huge boom. I mean, it's not only table tennis. I think all sports in general. I think viewers and sports lovers have been deprived of live action, have been deprived of results and matches, to track and follow. So I'm sure all sports, including table tennis, will come out of it booming. I think the ITTF is releasing their new set of tournaments, which is World Table Tennis in 2021, which is
Yeah.
extremely exciting. Domestic events will be back, so I think it's just a matter of time before sports lovers can watch again.
So when do you see sports restarting in India? Uh, you're saying things will happen eventually. You're saying about the domestic TT tournaments will start, will kick off, and so. So when do you see all these events starting in India once again?
So I am just waiting to hear when they're actually going to start. A couple of days ago, the International Federation mentioned that they're restarting in November, and I'm just waiting for the domestic season to be announced as well.
Yeah, that's so important for, and I believe that sports is one of the other sectors apart from the travel industry which has suffered the maximum through this lockdown. I mean, everyone is doing their bit. Everyone, newspapers are coming out, people are doing their jobs from home, work from home, the culture has started, people are going to work. Consumer markets, it's like reopening properly, and online business is booming. But sports is something which has been badly affected, and now we hear IPL is happening and a lot of other sports will restart. But when will sports get back to its normalcy? I mean, that is one question we are all asking, because it's not only the sports people, also the sports journalists, all the stakeholders. A lot of people are involved. I don't know what's the number, how many people are actually employed through sports in India. It's
Yeah.
people say it's a people, when they invest on sports, they think it's an emotional investment, there are no returns. But sort of reach sports has in this country, it's huge, don't you think?
No, for sure. I mean, it's surely a staggering number if we think about the number of people that are involved, as you said, in various different capacities. Of course, there are the players and the matches, which are probably at the center of things, but everyone else involved in terms of advertising and PR and the commentators and everyone else. The sports fans themselves want to go to stadiums and watch games.
Yeah.
So I surely think it's a huge and a booming industry right now, and I hope it gets restarted very very soon. But to give it a timeline right now, I'm a little unsure exactly when it will be back to the old normal.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who make their livings through playing tournaments in India, across India, they are actually quite worried and how they're going to run their affairs. and their champions are, it's not only cricketers, it's tennis player, a lot of footballers. This is waiting, which is
Yeah.
not a nice thing, because we need to restart sports. That's very important. I hope the home ministry is listening to us and doing something.
I'm sure that they're working at it extremely hard, and it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, everyone, if everyone is safe, everyone is in that bubble. We know how bubble works. We've seen in IPL there was initial a little bit of hiccups when five, nine, 10 players were tested positive with the Chennai Super Kings, and there was a little bit of tension that time, uncertainty, but they prevailed over all those uncertainties, and now they're playing. IPL is happening quite peacefully. I'm sure we can also pick and choose few cities like a Chennai or a Mumbai, where one center you can get all the TT players and start your national. Something of that sort, something out of the box idea. We have to restart, Mudit. This is the time. Youngsters like you sitting at home, they should be out there and playing.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think it's just a matter of time. I think all the stakeholders are just sort of weighing out the different options, and
I'm
it's
sure
a
about
matter of time. It's a matter of time.
absolutely. And thing is, TT, for instance, it's more of a recreational sport. And what I've seen, any good, housing complex, you could there were TT board, people coming, playing casually, going away. We have lots of talent, lots of energy supporting this sport. But where do you see? I mean, we have to put together a system where more TT players come out, right? More and more. So, do you think we are heading towards the right direction, India as a country? What are your thoughts?
No, I think surely. I mean, the image of TT has changed over the last 5, 10 years. I mean, I remember what it was like when I was about 10, 12 years old, and what it is right now. I think it's completely different. The number of players that are coming through on the domestic and the international level are much higher, of much higher quality as well. And I mean, the performances, I think, speak for themselves. I think the 2018 Commonwealth Games was unbelievable for us, both in the men and the women category. In the 2018 Asian Games, we won two bronze medals actually, for the first time ever. So that was really big for Indian table tennis. So I surely think it's in the right direction. The men's team has broken into the top 10 of the world rankings. We were outside 20. Sorry, we were at 22 about 6, 7 years ago. So of course, I think it's surely going in the right direction, and I'm sure the batch coming up is even stronger.
Yeah, and so you're saying you can correctly say that it's in right direction. The future is looking bright. That's what you say.
For sure, 100%, no doubt about that.
I'm sure. And people like you who's made that transition, that journey from junior to senior. I mean, tell us about that journey. How was it? How was it difficult? Was it smooth for you, the transition from a junior player to the senior, coming into the big league? How was it, the journey?
Yeah, I mean, it's always tough competing with the big boys.
Yeah.
It's not sometimes also just in terms of skill and physicality, but also the mentality. I think the professionals have been out there 8, 10 years doing this day in and day out. Whereas, as a junior player, sometimes it's not exactly that. You have school, you're sort of stuck at home because of that, in terms of you can't really train at maybe the best of places for longer time. So obviously that is a difficult period, and it's always spoken about. And I think for me it was up and down. I mean, I ended my junior career on a high. I won quite a few medals on the international circuit. I was 10th in the world as well. So of course, that sort of did make it easier, but it also made it harder, in the sense that, from being one of the top players at all the events, suddenly you go to being a nobody, at the senior events. So, mentally, I think that was something that I had to understand and cope with. It was something that I had to get used to, and the joy of winning was slightly diminished, in terms of, because you just couldn't do it all the time. And you don't in the juniors, you would be one of the best players at all the big events. and then in the seniors you sort of didn't even get a chance to play them. So mentally, I think is the biggest difference. And also, I grew up watching some of my Indian teammates now, Sharad Bhaiya, Amal Raj. I remember the first time when he won the nationals about 10 years ago. He had jumped onto the table, and I was about 11 then. And now to be sitting across him at the dinner table, talking to them, playing with them, it's a completely different experience. I mean, I I would surely put it as a huge learning curve for me over the last 3 years or so. And I think it's just about focusing on your strengths,
Yeah.
focusing on your individuality, because a lot of people get lost in saying that I want to be like this one, be like that one. And of course you do need to take the best characteristics from everyone around, but you also need to build yourself and get better as an individual player. So that's something that helped me.
Absolutely. This is the power of sports. Again, building yourself brick by brick. But where do you see yourself, Mudit, in next 5 years as a TT player?
So I think for me the biggest goal is to be representing India and winning medals at the multi-sport events. I think that's the biggest honor that a sportsman can have, and by that I mean Commonwealth Games, Asian Games, Olympic Games. So that's obviously the ultimate aim. And step by step, that's what I'm working towards every day. I think the feeling of just wearing that India jersey is obviously a huge honor, but there's a lot more for me to achieve, and hopefully I'll be there in 5 years.
Absolutely. Who all are your role models?
So of course, Sharad Bhaiya is the main role model, and my coach Kamlesh sir. But I've just grown up watching him,
A
be the
legend.
best in. Yeah, he's been the best in India for the last 10 years or so,
Yeah.
even longer. He played his first Olympics when I was 5 years old. So, and first, and he's still the best, player in the international rankings right now. So just to see that longevity of that career, the way he conducts himself, more importantly, off the table.
Yeah.
On the table, I think everyone is a champion, but off the table, the way he conducts himself is truly amazing. And if you think, if you think about my younger days, I used to swim as well, and the never give up attitude of Michael Phelps is something I really look up to.
Absolutely. Sharat came on our show also on SK Live, and he came
Yeah.
on such a short notice. I just told him around 6 in the evening for next day, and he
Mm,
immediately agreed without having. He had something. He said, "I have some webinar or something, but I'll come," and immediately agreed. There was no, that why you giving me such a less time. The
mm,
airs of a big player. He didn't never had that. That's the hallmark of a true champion. I have seen so many of them, be it Sachin Tendulkar, Vishwanathan Anand, Leander Pace, uh, Sharad Kamal, name any, Baichung Bhutia, they are so down to earth. One thing which is in excess, they have so much in excess, that is their way to carry themselves. The way they carry themselves in front of juniors in public space, amazing. Real role models, isn't it? Udit?
no, for sure, and he changed Indian table tennis completely. I mean, if I have to put it to one person, I think the way he moved to Europe at an age when at a time when it sort of wasn't considered normal. He helped all his juniors move to Europe as well, and now he's helping all of us, juniors X2 or 3 maybe to him. So it's amazing. It's amazing to have him around.
Even a player like Manika Batra, winning the KL Ratna, and it was amazing. How TT is recognized by the Indian fraternity, the sports loving fraternity. It's amazing, and she's won medals and very inspiring stories, isn't it, Mudit?
No, completely. I was just gonna say that, she was uh in fact not only in table tennis, but across the whole contingent at the Commonwealth Games in 2018. She
Yeah,
was the highest medal, like she had the highest medal tally. So of course, It's amazing that we have table tennis has such a
Yeah,
next
Mudit, can you hear
generation
me?
of players to come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I can hear
missed
you.
you, and I think your thing froze for a little while. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you were talking about Manika. Manika,
Awesome.
I missed out Manika bit. Yeah, he said, yeah, winning
Yeah, so
those team in the Commonwealth Games 2018.
yeah, so she was the highest. She had the highest medal tally across all sports for Indians, and I think that is just truly inspirational for the years to come for all the younger players and especially girls. It's truly amazing.
Well, then you go around traveling. You're trying to play in different parts of the world, and you're being invited to play in different parts of the world. So, how do the countries, the European countries in Australia, how do they perceive the Indian TT players? I mean, are we growing in reputation? Are we growing in reputation through our robust performances? How do you see their perception? I mean, have you ever felt what they feel in private? How they rate the Indian TT players? Have you ever thought about? Have you ever heard about their sort of their side story?
Yeah, I think Indian players are highly respected. As I said, in the men, we're in the top 10 of the rankings now. We were outside 22 about six, outside 20 about 6 or 7 years ago. So obviously, that meteoric rise, especially and even in the girls, having Manika, having a lot of other top players coming through the ranks. They obviously think of us as a competitor. They think of us as someone who can beat them. May whoever it might be, any of the Europeans or Asian countries. So for sure, I think they do treat us with a lot of respect. I think obviously the image will change more and more as we get better and better in the years to come, but
Absolutely.
I surely I've never ever felt anything but respect, because I think they also just realize that we also have a slightly different style of playing, which they really like in some sense. We're not the genetically 6 foot built, broad shoulders sort of European build. We have a slightly different build, and we're really good with our tactics. We're really good in the touch game, and that's something that they love to learn from us, and we try to pick up other things from them. So it's always a learning process.
No, skill wise, we were always on top. Indian sports people, sports person, where they always did well. Only thing we lacked was the speed and stamina. But that too is changing, Mudit. I feel 10 years ago, I don't remember anyone clocking 140 kilometers per hour speed while bowling. Now it's all
Yeah,
happening in India. Every team and
yeah,
every state has 5 to 10 bowlers who can clock 140. And what is the secret? I mean, you are also a youngster. You're doing well. You're coming of age. You're doing well for the you're going to do well for yourself in the days to come. You'll represent the country. But tell me something: is India eating well? What is the reason behind this? All of us, this sudden burst of energy, sudden burst of strength, Indians are carrying at the world stage. What is the thing? What according to you? I mean, I think Indians they have access to social media. The aspiration levels have gone up. They're eating well. And what are your definition?
no, I think there's a lot more knowledge. The world has sort of opened up if you compare it to 10, 15, 20 years ago. So there's a lot more knowledge coming in, and we're also becoming a lot more conscious of ourselves. Where we're thinking about our diets, we're thinking about our fitness routines, and it's actually science in many ways. And what to eat during a certain type of training, what to eat before it, what types of training to do, how not to overtrain. It's I think elite performance is something that is really changing in India, and I would say that is probably the reason why India is doing so well. I think we're just getting extremely specific into our training, into our food, into our workouts, into everything we do, including our sleep, which is an extremely important aspect as well. So So I think it's
Absolutely.
just the professionalism that's coming through, and it's gonna get better and better.
I'm sure it is going to get better and better. And people like you showing the way, and gainfully employing yourself all the time. If it's not playing TT, you sit in front of the camera and start interviewing people. But what do you do apart from, we know for sure you can do interviews. You're
Not as
into,
well as you.
no, 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 no. We're not comparing here because but apart from playing TT and doing good interviews, what else are you good at?
What am I good at? Yikes. That's a tough question. What am I not good at? I'm sure my family will and my friends will tell you I'm not good at singing,
Okay,
but I like singing actually sometimes just for fun. I mean, I'm a big music and a movie buff.
okay.
So I end up that's how I relax usually. Sometimes while traveling, or just in times between training or on off days. I like to watch movies. Um, I like to listen to music. I like social media quite a bit actually. I'm quite active.
I know.
Uh, I shouldn't be, maybe I should tone it down a little, but it's something fun, you know.
Good.
So I enjoy that. And of course, I'm as you said, I'm sort of trying to think of new ideas and new things all the time, be it sports related or not. So that's sort of what keeps me busy.
I missed the last part of it. You said about something. Uh,
uh yeah, so I just like to keep myself busy. I don't like sort of,
Gainfully employing yourself all the time.
yeah, something or the other, just trying to learn something or do something. I mean, nothing in specific, to be very honest.
No, no, which is so nice. You are an inspiration, and it's very important to have multi-dimensional things in life because once you have a bad match, you come back home or you come back to your hotel, and how to unwind yourself. And you have a music, you have a movie. What kind of movie do you like watching? English or Hindi?
Both, but only like fun stuff. I mean, I don't really like watching the serious movies, the horror movies, not that type of stuff. Just comedies and and yeah, just lifestyle related, maybe a little bit entertaining, something of that sort.
And music-wise, what do you like?
Music wise, I'm more into Hindi, but I'm open. I'm open to English, open to Punjabi, open to everything, but a little bit more towards Hindi.
So yeah, I was talking about Mudit, how it's important for a sports person to unwind, to learn to unwind, because that really helps you. Like you've been away from this sport for such a long time, serious, competitions not happening on regular basis. But this has an advantage also. Once you get to the field, the hunger you will have inside. Just imagine, just think about it. So it's a double edged sword actually. If you think this lockdown, isn't it?
No, for sure. I mean, it's building up. It's building up hard and fast. But I think, yeah, it's actually been really good, to unwind, and that's something I really pay attention to, because I think it's impossible to sort of be just thinking about table tennis 24/7.
No,
And
it's
in some sense, it has to be like, you switch on and you switch off. So when
yes,
you're playing table tennis, of course, of course, 100% of your mind, your energy, everything is there. But you also need to have your downtime and think of something else to refresh and recharge the batteries.
absolutely. A biggest example I saw was in 2008. I was posted in Jaipur for a while, and Rajasthan Royals were playing from there. First season of IPL. I remember Shane Warne. As long as he's on the field, all his senses are switched on. He's completing the cricket. Moment he's out of the field, he switches off the entire cricket business. He's not thinking about cricket at all, which is so important to switch on and off. And when to do it, you should know that as a sports person, isn't it?
No, for sure, for sure. It's extremely important, not just in sports, but I think anything you do, you just sort of be in the present of what you're doing, then move on to the next thing, focus on that, move on to the next thing.
Absolutely. And it was such a pleasure having you. Before we let you go, I want to, uh, you know, since you've interviewed so many people, you met a lot of these sports people face to face. Tell me one untold story of such meeting of one stalwart from Indian sport who left you with a very positive impact, something you can, which you'll remember for rest of your life. Could be an encounter with Sachin Tendulkar, could be an encounter with anyone else, with Vishwanathan Anand. If you can recall and tell us one such story, untold story, which you haven't done through your interview.
Yeah.
So can you tell us one story like that?
If I have to think of one, maybe it was the first time I actually met Leander Pace.
Wow.
I bumped into him at Mumbai airport actually.
Yeah.
I was going on family holiday and stuff, and I bumped into him over there, and my parents were introducing me to him a little bit, and like we were just talking about sport and things like that. And he actually knew a lot more about me and table tennis than I would have ever imagined, and that was amazing. I mean, a lot of people have this misconception that table tennis is with the arms, table tennis is with the upper body related. And he actually complimented me by telling me that I have extremely strong and bulky legs. And that's something that really really felt good, because it's something that I'd grown up being told I have pencil legs. And I didn't really like that comment, because it wasn't very very good for my sports career. So I,
Because
I was working on that.
legs are so important, I tell you, because Leander Pace was our 100th guest on SK Live. Okay, he was our special.
I know.
Yeah, and one thing about Leander Pace is his longevity, the way he's played over the years. He's still there, and longevity can only happen when you have good foundation, and when you have good
Yeah.
foundation, and when you have good legs. So we will obviously notice your legs because that's has got.
No, so I mean, it wasn't only that. I mean, he sort of knew that I'd broken into the top 10. He knew a couple of things, and to just think, I was in awe of him anyway. And then on top of that, for him to know some things about me, it just felt really really good. I mean, I can't really describe that feeling, to be very honest, but it was just a lot of warmth, and it just felt really good, and I'll obviously never forget that.
That's the, as I said, hallmark of a champion, true champion.
Yeah,
Uh, I knew Mr. Leander Pace for 2 weeks, and when he came on the show, he was so honest, and the way he was talking, as if I've known him for years, and he made me feel so much at home, and that's
yeah,
that's something I'll never forget in my life. And what a legend, what a legendary! And you're so fortunate to meet him face to face, because the time has come, sort of time has come in our lives when meeting face to face will be a rare thing in next 2 3 years. Because
yeah.
of social distancing and things like that, we'll be only meeting people virtually. But that's how life is. We have to move on with this. But Mudit, you keep playing. I hope normalcy returns to TT, and you go and hit the big tournaments as early as possible, and keep winning and keep rising and keep going up the ladder. All the best. Stay happy. Keep smiling and keep interviewing people and keep inspiring people who follow you. Thank you, Mudit, for coming on SK Live.
Thank you so much for having me, and I think it's obviously a great initiative that you're doing for people across all sports. So yeah,
Yeah, and
thank thank
we are
you.
trying out little things from our side, little ways we are doing.
No,
Thanks a lot
thank
for
you,
coming on SK Live.
thank you. Stay safe.
Stay happy, stay safe. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.